Well, I just threw this in the grass, so oh crap. All right, I'm gonna have to redo this one. I'll have to do the other side. Oh, great. Welcome back to the Source Garage. Sam here, and today we're going to find out if using your pressure washer to wash out your mitt between panels is actually good enough, and you don't need to go to using 6 or 7 mitts to wash your car. So you've seen my grit guard videos talking about how much contaminants get stirred up in the bottom using grit guards, and so a lot of people have been moving to the one bucket or multiple mitt or the Gary Dean multiple towel method. So the next step after I did the investigation with the grit guards is I want to see if you can take one of these mitts, use a pressure washer between, let's say, panels or between however many wipes you do, blow out the mitt, see if you can get out all the contaminants, and then reuse it again. See if it's really necessary to have so many different things to wash with at once. If you could just do it with one bucket and one mitt, that'd be great, wouldn't it? So that's what we're going to test out. So I've assembled, I think, a pretty good array to at least start with. We'll see where today goes. But what I've got here, so I think this is the top selling mitt on Amazon right now. I think it's the Relentless Drive Chanel Noodle Mitt. I've got the Rag Company. This is their 70/30 polyester polyamide Cyclone mitt. I've got from Detailer's Domain the Uber Yellow Wash Sponge. From Klein, I've got the Softy Series pads. This is a low nap microfiber, so very, very soft microfiber. Adams 10-inch car wash pad, so they're synthetic wool, and then microfiber wash mitt from Maguire. So this is a pretty good starting array, I think. I'm sure I'll get more and try it out. I just wanted to get these and see where it goes today. So the plan is, well, first I actually have this little microscope set up here, so hooked up to my laptop here. So what we're going to do first is actually look at all these mitts under the microscope so we can see what they look like clean to start with, see what their structure is. I've pretty much just pulled these out of the bag or been sitting in my cabinet. None of these have been used at all. These are all completely brand new. So we're going to look at them under the microscope, see what they look like clean. Then I have McKee's N914 rinseless wash here. I'm going to mix up a bucket of that and then take all these and try and do the exact same wipe down the hood of my car. So I'm just going to give each of them a segment, come straight down the car. That's going to be it. I might flip them over to do both sides potentially. Spray them off with the pressure washer, all the exact same. I'm going to use the same technique the whole way through. So they're going to pick up the same dirt, wash them the same way, and then bring them in here and look at them under the microscope again and see how much dirt contaminants is still on here, see maybe different sizes of the dirt or if we're just kind of staining potentially. So that's the plan. So first thing we're going to do is I'm going to get all these under the microscope here, and we're going to look at them really close up and see what they're made of and what they look like clean. All right, so here's the Chanel microfiber noodle mitt. So you can see all the little strands in there that we've zoomed in on. So it's really just kind of a mess of the microfiber going everywhere. It's all completely clean right now though. Everything looks white or blue. I can't find any black spots on any of this, so completely clean to start with. So next I'll move on to the Rag Company Cyclone mitt. So here's the Rag Company Cyclone mitt. So you can see these white strands here, blue strands here. So the blue strands and the white strands are the more tightly wound polyester. And there's some like white fluff you can see here. So that's the polyamide in the background, the more water absorbent part. So again, brand new, all completely clean. We'll see what it looks like after the testing. Here's the Detailer's Domain Uber Yellow Wash Sponge. You can see the sponge structure here. Again, brand new, completely clean. So this isn't actually a fabric-like material like the other mitt, so it's not strands, it's just the structure of the foam here. So we'll see what this looks like after it picks up some dirt. Here's the Klein Softy Series pad. This is a very low net microfiber, so you can see the extremely fine, small strands there. So these are all kind of matted down together, not really spun up into anything or like the noodle fingers at all, or the strands on the Rag Company Cyclo Shine mitt. Here is the Adams synthetic wool. Again, not spun together in any way. You can see all the loose individual strands just going about everywhere, all packed together into the mitt. So again, completely clean to start with here. And lastly, we have the Maguire's Microfiber wash mitt. Now this is not the same as the Klein Softy series. You can see that there's some more actual, I'll say, structure. You can see kind of a thread here. So these are like very small individual little threads twisted together, not just individual strands, not put together in any way. But again. All right, so we're out here with a small batch of the McKee's N914 rinseless wash. We got the wash mitts here and the Dirty V that definitely is in need of a bath. But what we're gonna do here is just take the mitts, dip them in the wash, and then take just one side. So I'm gonna try and give each of these their own segment. Just bring it down one time, that's it, and then set it back down here. And then we're going to power wash off just the one side and see what actually comes off. So that's the plan. Let's do the same order we did before. All right, so that's one done. Next up, the rag company. New section. You can already see the dirt on there as expected. All right, the Klein Softy series. Another new section. Detailer's Domain Uber Yellow Wash Sponge. That's really dirty. The Atom Synthetic Wool Pad. And then lastly, the Maguire's Microfiber Pad. All right, so covered the whole hood, completely even sections. So I think I'm going to look at a couple of these under the microscope first and then use the pressure washer. So real quick, here they are on the platter. You can see some of the gray tinting, obviously the black on the yellow sponge here. So definitely we got some dirt picked up here. So I'm going to throw a couple of these under the microscope real quick so we can see what that looks like. So here you can see the sponge, obviously a lot of blackness in here. So we definitely picked up some dirt particles. So we'll see how those come out with the pressure washer. Real quick, I'm going to throw under, let's see if we can see some dirt on the Maguire's Microfiber wash mitt here. So there's some specks of dirt. Some more up top there. So there's definitely some in here. So we're going to take them all to the pressure washer now and see what that does. All right, so we got the pressure washer here. Real quick, remember we only did one side of these, so I'm just going to take them and pressure wash out one side, trying to be as consistent as I can with all of this. So you should be able to see the yellow sponge if it comes out right now. Yeah, so you definitely see a lot of that got removed. Well, I just threw this in the grass, so oh crap. All right, I'm gonna have to redo this one. I'll have to do the other side. Oh, great. All right, Adam's wool. This is so thick. All right, so I have to redo the Maguire's one because I just threw that in the grass. So real quick, be back in a second. I'm gonna quick wipe down the other side on another part of the car. All right, so I took the Maguire's microfiber mitt and quickly ran it down the side front quarter panel. So you can see there's some kind of gray in here. So I just picked up some dirt real quick. I'm not gonna throw this one in the grass. Now I can wash it out. All right, so everything's been washed out now, just 2 passes with the pressure washer. So now back to the microscope, see if we can find some dirt in there. So I've taken a couple minutes to try and start searching through some of these to find contaminants, and to be honest, it's extremely difficult. I think the more rigid structures have released it really well. So like this, you're looking right now at the Detailer's Domain Uber Yellow Wash Sponge. So where it was gray in the video where you could clearly see the dirt and contaminants had built up, and then you could watch the pressure washer kind of blow it out, I'm really struggling to find any remnants of it left in the sponge really at all. I've moved as slowly as I can around as much of the middle of the sponge here where I saw the contaminants before, and maybe, I mean, I still see the tinting, like there's some light tinting going on. I can see down here, but the vast majority of the contaminants that was like the bigger, blockier grime is gone. And I'm sure with another pass or two of the pressure wash, I could have gotten the rest of this out too. My guess is that the structure here is not holding on to the dirt very strong. So when the pressure washer hits it, it just kind of blows right off like a slick surface. So at least for this sponge, it looks pretty good. I'm gonna do some more searching on the others and see what I can come up with. So this is the Klein microfiber wash mitt. So again, I'm having a really hard time trying to find the dirt. This is the second one I've looked at in depth here, trying to see if I can find anything. And everywhere I move it, it's just, it looks clean. It's wet, it's clean. I've tried peeling back, see if I can do this here, like peeling back the microfiber, brushing it the opposite direction, and I still am not able to find any kind of grime or contaminants of it at all. So this microfiber is performing really well, so on to the next one. All right, so now we're on the Maguire's microfiber wash mitt, and I have finally found a noticeably sizable chunk of contaminants here. This is the first one I found so far. So the difference here, so I'm only in the third one here, but I'd like to talk and think as I go. So the difference here is that you see all these strands that are just kind of going everywhere, right? There's no real structure to them. They're not loose. They're just a mangled mesh of the microfiber strands. Versus the sponge had a rigid structure to it, and even the low nap Klein, the super soft microfiber, it was more individual threads, right? It wasn't any kind of twisted or what this mangling is of this microfiber. So this may have something to do with its struggle to actually release the dirt potentially. So I'm going to keep moving it around here and see if I can find any. Yeah, I think there's some more. Yeah. So let me keep searching here. Unfortunately, my little microscope here is lagging out on me. So most of it, oh, there's another one I think there if I can focus in. Yeah, so we are finding some more contaminants in here. I wonder if I can just see them with my eye. Yeah, I can see some small particles in here. So maybe this didn't release all of them as good as I had hoped it to. All right, on to the next one. So this is the Atom synthetic wool. And again, I'm struggling to find contaminants. What I'm noticing with this one, similar to I think the Klein Super Soft, is that these threads are more open than the Maguire's microfiber perhaps. They're not twisted together so much. Um, so as I've been moving it around, I mean, they kind of look mangled, but relative to the Maguire's, I think these are less tightly packed. This Adams synthetic wool mitt is very, very fluffy. It's got a lot of mass, a lot of body to it. And I'm thinking the openness of all these fibers helped release some of the contaminants more. Because there's a lot of surface area here with how much of this synthetic wool there is. And I keep moving around all over it trying to find anything, and I'm really not having any luck. All the threads are looking white too, so this was successful to me at least. So this is the Chanel Noodle microfiber mitt, and I've been looking at this thing for probably 15 minutes now, I think, because the weaving of the threads looks very similar, to me at least, to the Maguire's microfiber mitt. So I've been expecting to find contaminants in it. However, I have not been able to. I don't know what about this either makes it different from the Maguire's microfiber, or, God, this microscope is like flaking out on me here. It's either different in some way, in the way it's threaded, or potentially I didn't get enough dirt on it. Those are the only two things I can think of. And I'm sorry for the bad picture quality. This microscope is glitching on me here. I think my crappy old laptop is not able to handle it. So only one left to look at, the Rag Company Cyclone mitt. All right, so now we're looking at the Rag Company Cyclone. And so I have been able to find a couple little particles here. I'm starting to think I couldn't find them in the Chanel one just because of the blue darkness makes it really hard to find. But in the white, these particles stick out better. So I have found a couple little particles in here. And part of my thinking on this is, so we have all these overlapping threads essentially with this style. And so that's great when you're trying to capture and hide the dirt essentially, right? So if I flip the mitt over, or if I'm I don't know how to describe this, like meshing the mitt up against a panel, moving it back and forth. I want to capture that dirt, bring it in, and have all these threads here kind of flop over, right? And capture the dirt so that I don't take it and re-grind it on the paint. But I think that's being detrimental to the ability to use a pressure washer to just wash it out, because it's so effective at capturing the dirt. Now, this may not be necessarily a bad thing, because if that property of the wash mitt is still working the way it should, these little particles that are trapped in here have a much lower chance of actually making contact with the paint if they are trapped as well as they should be. But I have been able to find a couple different spots with some little particles in them against the white here. So I think I'm going to do one more test, going to call an audible here and do something just because I want to try it. All right, so I'm going to try some here just to prove to myself to see if these are really that good at cleaning. And I fixed my audio now because I realized I had not plugged in the mix amp into the camera properly. So sorry, the audio on the last microscope part's not the greatest. But I'm going to take these three, so all three of these cleaned out really well as we just saw in the microscope. And what I'm going to do is basically get them as dirty as I possibly can. I'm going to just rub them all over the car, without rinsing them off. And when I get them really nice and dirty, then I'm going to try and pressure wash them again. Same with just 2 passes, and see if I can find any dirt in them, just to see if they really are that good at cleaning off, or I was just blind because I didn't get them dirty enough potentially. So try that here. So let's do the Klein pad first. So really getting on the bottom here, so we should be picking up a lot of dirt. All right, so now hopefully you can see this thing is very black all over. So now we've got plenty of dirt on there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go off camera real quick here, pressure wash this, and then go set it down so I can come back and do these others, and I guess kind of preserve the consistency of this as best I can. All right, so real quick, got super black mitt, pressure washing, same as before. Got a videotape everything just to prove I've always done this the right way. And just immediately what I can see here is there is this black line here and black on the side, but the middle still looks pretty clean, but there's definitely more black contaminants. And I'll notice if I scrub my finger the other way, it does look cleaner where I guess the outside of it hasn't touched, but definitely a lot of contaminants on here now. So I don't even need to use a microscope to see if there's a lot of dirt there. So I'm going to try and pressure wash off maybe this black line or just half of it more and see how clean I can actually get it just with pressure washing. So that black line is still there. And I've gotten most of it out, but so we'll do a comparison between the dirtiness and this side here and see if that makes a difference at all. All right, so back to the other mitts I have to try still. All right, so now I've got the Uber Yellow wash sponge. So again, I'm going to try and get one side as dirty as I possibly can here. All right, we've got a lot of dirt there. I'm going to keep going though. I really want to see if this can clean as well as it possibly can. I know you're not supposed to go bottom to top here, but I'm just trying to capture as much dirt as I can. All right, so this is nice and black now. All right, so same thing, going to pressure wash this off now. All right, so super black, super dirty sponge here. So a couple pressure wash sprays again. That was pretty good for a first pass. And again, that looking pretty clean. You can see how dirty it is on the side here still, but those 2 passes did a pretty good job. So we'll look at that under a microscope again. And lastly, back to the Atom synthetic wool. All right. So here we have the Atom synthetic wool. Again, going to get as dirty as I can here. This thing holds a ton of liquid. So now it is, see, very black here. So again, I'm going to try and pressure wash this off. What is nice though is that you can see how clean some of the underlying parts are. So just because there's so much of the mitt here, I mean I could take this black part here, open it up, and it's going to be clean underneath again. So maybe that's a really nice benefit of this pad, but let's pressure wash it off. All right, Atom synthetic wool pad. A decent job. I didn't get the pressure washer on some of the sides here, but looking good still. So now I can definitely still see some of the gray, the black in here after 2 washes. I can even see just with my eyes some of the particles still in here. Let me try and do the same thing I did with the Klein soft mitt. I'm going to do half of it really well and see if that makes a significant difference. It is looking a little better, but I'm still seeing some stuff tangled in there. So let's see what these look like under the microscope now. All right, so we're back on the microscope after I dirtied up a couple of these as much as I could. Right now we're looking at the yellow wash sponge. So you can see some dirt here, obviously, little particles that are still on here. I guess I'm not super surprised at this. I mean, you can only get so much off with a pressure washer. There's got to be some contaminants on there that are going to be a lot more sticky, more tacky, harder to remove. But still, even after looking over most of the sponge, seeing only some really minute particles, and a lot of it has come off, I still think it does a pretty good job of just using a pressure washer to blow it out real quick. But does not, just for the record definitively, get everything out of there. All right, so now we are actually in my basement here. I just got sick of using my laptop. It was glitching, lagging too much, so now I can get a more steady stream with the microscope here. So I actually have managed to find, and I'm sorry for the shakiness, I'm doing this by hand to try and help speed up the process. So you should be able to see two little black particles in the middle of the screen there, and I've been finding some more of these as I look around. So there definitely are some contaminants trapped in here. And this is again the Klein Super Soft. There's another one right there. Very, very small, but nonetheless still there. Another one there. Again, apologize for the shakiness, but this is a much better visual feed. I got a bigger monitor down here, so we can look at stuff better. Another big one right there. All right. So yeah, contaminants are still in here. They did not all blow out. Did a decent job still, but no, there's still particles left in here. So now there's only one thing left to look at, which is the Adams wool mitt. All right, so now we're looking at the Adams synthetic wool pad. Clearly you can see how dirty it is now in some of these spots. A lot of dirty water contaminants on here still. But there's also a lot of, if I just move around here, adjust the focus, there's also still a ton of clean strands in here, just because there's so many of them in here. And I have seen small particles still, but the majority of this is still pretty clean. And even when I do find, let me go to another dirty area here. So when I do find the dirty areas, the particles that are here are still very, very small. So you could use this mitt for a while, I'd assume, and pressure washing it out would help. This is probably the dirtiest spot I've been able to find right here. You can see all the contaminants on there. So pressure washing will not completely clean it out unless you probably sat there for quite some time going at it. All right, so I think it's time for some conclusions. All right, so let's wrap it up here. So the initial question was, can you use a pressure washer to remove all contaminants from a mitt when washing your car, so you obviously avoid rubbing them back on the car? And the answer to that question has to be no. Just because, I mean, especially when I got some more of these dirty and pressure washed them out as much as I could, the contaminants are still in there. I think we need some kind of soap, or actually put them through a proper wash to remove all the contaminants, but we did get a majority of them out. So if you are using the one bucket method with just one mitt and you are pressure washing it out, I would at least recommend that you do either like very, very short intervals or on a very not dirty car, like just a light rinseless wash on something that's not very dirty, to prevent embedding so much stuff in it at once. So something like this from the rag company here, so we're going to get more dirt embedded in all these different fibers here. We're less likely to reintroduce it back onto the paint, but it's also harder to wash out. I don't know how comfortable I'd feel using just one of these for the whole car and hoping that it washes out. And that was with a pressure washer. So if you're just dunking this in a bucket, I need to do some more testing on that too to see how just dunking it in a bucket releases contaminants from these mitts. But across the board, we're seeing contaminants stay trapped even with pressure washing them out, some worse than others. The Maguire's microfiber here was not very good. Found a lot of particles in there. I like the Adams wool, the Klein soft low nap microfiber. I guess the Chanel microfiber mitt, I really had a hard time finding particles. It's such a dark color. I should have got the light green. Maybe it would have been easier to find particles. I'm going to guess, though, that they're definitely in here, like this one. So there's the answer to the question. No, you can't use a pressure washer to entirely clean out your mitt. So using multiple mitts or the Gary Dean method with a whole bunch of microfibers would definitely be the absolute safest way to make sure you are never reintroducing contaminants onto the paint. And using a grit guard will help if you were not using that method. So going back to the 2-bucket method, using one of these, dunking it in, getting what contaminants off you have. If you aren't using a pressure washer, that's going to help. If you want to go a step further than that, use a pressure washer and dunk it in the water in a bucket to try and get as much off. But really, I think I'm going to have to say that the only real way to make sure you're not reintroducing contaminants of any kind is to use multiple mitts for every panel or multiple wash towels, because you really do have to, I think, wash these entirely to actually get all the contaminants out of there. So I think that wraps it up for this test. Let me know if there's anything you think I did wrong, want to discuss and look at something further. I may do this again with some more mitts, some different kinds. I have a sea sponge in here I didn't try out, and some other types of foam. Maybe some different foam structures will yield some different results. Maybe different washes. I may need to try it. The rinseless wash was really just so I could see everything the easiest and not to deal with a full soaped mitt, make it even harder to find stuff, but maybe that would help if we can encapsulate the particles more. If you want to talk about things I didn't control 100% in this experiment, would be the time between wiping this on the car and then pressure washing it. Again, with that soap encapsulation, if I could wipe it on the car, everything's still in water, soluble, or at least picked up, encapsulated in some way, and pressure wash it out immediately, maybe stuff would come out better. I didn't control that perfectly. There was a minute of sitting time between pressure washing and the wiping time, so stuff may have settled more. That's what I can really think of off the top of my head here that I did not control perfectly in this experiment, but I think through the extensive pressure washing of some of these that we proved that we still can't get all the contaminants out. So that's it for today. Thanks for watching if you made it through this whole thing. Sorry to people who don't like long videos, but that's just not going to be my style. I like to get it all on video, record everything, talk about everything, make it feel as much as possible like you're here doing the experiment and see everything that I do. And if you want a quick write-up, I'll have those on my website, or you can basically skip to the end of all the videos. I'll always have a summary or conclusion portion like this. So subscribe, stick around, see what else I'm going to keep doing. Give me more suggestions for experiments. Do these every weekend or any night that I can. So thanks for watching.